طبعا أنا شاب مثلكم يعني أكيد، فبدليل أنه الذي جاء الشباب فهو أكيد شيخ الشباب إن شاء الله، فأهلا وسهلا به. يعني تكبد صعاب البلد التي جاء إليها منها، ونسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يجعلها في ميزان حسناته وأن يبارك بهذه الخطوات، وأن يعني يستفيد جميع الشباب إن شاء الله، ونخطو خطى هذا الشاب الطيب المبارك الذي يسر الله له واختاره الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يكون داعيا إن شاء الله يجهر بالحق وينصر دين الله سبحانه وتعالى بالكلمة وبالدعوة إلى الله بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة. فأهلا وسهلا به وجزاه الله خيرا، وأسأل الله أن يجعلها في ميزان حسناته، فليتفضل مشكورا.
طيب. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Først og fremmest, jeg vil lige præsentere os selv, hvem vi er, inshallah. Og det er virkelig fantastisk at se så mange, der møder op på sådan en hverdag, især så mange smukke unge ansigter, alhamdulillah. Vi er fra Århus, og i anledning af, at Mohamed Hoblos han er gæst hos os, inshallah, han skal rundt i Danmark og Sverige. Så det er nogle aktiviteter, som vores dagafdeling står for. Men i Århus regi, vi har en del aktiviteter ud over vores dagaktiviteter. Et af dem, det er vores nødhjælpsaktiviteter, hvor vi er aktive i øjeblikket, hovedsageligt i Syrien. Hvor vi yder nødhjælp, og vi har en del projekter herhjemme i Danmark i forbindelse til at skulle prøve at samle så meget hjælp til de folk dernede. Samtidig med, at vi også nede i Syrien har en del aktiviteter i form af, at vi driver en flygtningelejr for internt fordrevne, og vi har en skoleundskyld, og har været med til at etablere 2 hospitaler. Så det er nogle af de aktiviteter, som løbende foregår, og det er hovedsageligt noget, som unge mennesker som os og jer, der sidder herinde, har været med til at gøre til en realitet. Så hvis vi kan få projekterne til at virke, så har jeg et lille klip. Fordi typisk, når man taler om sådan noget her, jeg kan stå og tale i lang tid og så videre, men ved noget videoklip, så er det er meget mere sigende. Men i hvert fald, det videoklip, som egentlig var intentionen, at I skulle se, det er faktisk et lille bitte uddrag af en dokumentar, som er blevet vist på Al Jazeera. Både den arabiske og den engelske flere gange har den faktisk blevet vist, hvor vores arbejde også er inkluderet. I hvert fald, jeg kan prøve kort at forklare, hvad det er, der bliver vist. Det viser en lille smule af vores flygtningelejre. Man skal bare snakke, så siger jeg det. Så vil jeg ikke snakke mere om. Så kan I selv følge med, hvad der foregår. Og, ja. Hele tiden og så videre, så man er ligesom nødt til at prøve at tage imod de her, selvom man vores, altså det er vi i stand til, det er ikke verdens lille kæmpe store organisation eller noget, vi er alle sammen frivillige og sådan noget, men vi prøver ligesom at holde det kørende, altså man er nogle bygget med 75 telt, ikke? Så vi har valgt at bygge 6 små forretninger, der ligger ud til vejen. Egentlig med det mål, at enten det er folk fra lejren eller folk udefra kan lege den her butik for ikke særlig mange penge. Og så kan der komme lidt liv her, og folk kan tjene lidt penge. Det har donationer fra Danmark. Vi er også i Århus for at udføre det. Donationer fra Danmark. Men altså, standen er det med elendigt, for at være ærlig. Altså, men det er egentlig,
det er realiteten for dem, ikke? Altså det er det, der er muligt, det er det, der er. Før det var der ingenting. Før det skulle de gå længere op bjerget og finde et træ, og så gøre, hvad de skulle. Så det er bedre end ingenting. Vi har prøvet at bygge det som en bygning her. Når så mange mennesker skal bruge de samme ting, så ender det sammen. Det vi prøver ligesom på den her lejr, det er at dække deres behov i forhold til nogle af de faciliteter, som der er behov for. Som man tænker på toiletter og moskéer og aktivitetscentre og så videre. Men også deres daglige behov. Altså tøjuddeling, læger og modermælkserstatning og så videre. Mad, tæpper, madrasser og så videre. Altså det er sådan kontinuerligt, ikke? Et aktivitetscenter for kvinder, hvor de kan komme og sy tøj. Det er et aktivitetscenter indvendigt. I øjeblikket bliver det brugt meget sparsomt, fordi som sagt, det er hver eneste kvinde, der ligesom skaffer sine egne kunder. Så hvis jeg skal have lagt bukser op, så går jeg over til en af kvinde, fordi jeg ved, hun syr, så kommer hun her og gør det. Men mange af dem her i lejren, de arbejder altså på at få en større, en fast aftale med nogle firmaer, nogle tyrkiske eller nogle syriske, om at de skal have syet x antal trøjer eller bukser, så kan det blive gjort her. Og så kan de kvinder, der kan tilknytte det her, de kan så udføre det her arbejde til en lidt mere fast indtægt. Det er altid bruger også bare for at sætte på stedet andet, fordi man ikke får. Ja, det er fra Danmark faktisk, så det er dumt, at jeg skal tage den her lignende. Så det er jo ikke bare lige at forstå.
Den danske nødhjælpsarbejder Iskender Shabil skal på en ekstrem vejletur til krigshavet Aleppo for at dele nødhjælpspakker ud. Jeg rejser med til Aleppo, fordi jeg har en aftale i byen med en britisk jihadist, der vil lade sig interviewe af mig. Det er heldigt, at der er overskud. Regeringshelikopterne plejer at tæppebombardere byen dagligt. Men i dag angriber de ikke, fordi skyerne forhindrer dem i at udpege deres mål.
Front line is actually right there.
Iskender Shabil standser for at finde ud af, hvordan han kan komme forbi snigskytterne og ind til Salahuddin, en bydel, som ligger klods oppe frem.
Vi kan høre sniperen ligger og skyder nu her. Han har sikkert set noget bevæge sig, så ligger og skyder efter, ikke?
Civile familier bor stadig væk i det krigshærede nabolag. Ironisk nok er det sikreste sted Aleppo-front, hvor kamphandlingerne foregår. Det skyldes, at regimets luftangreb med tøndebomber er så upræcise, at de ikke tør smide ned her, fordi de frygter at ramme deres egne stillinger.
Sniper, der skød efter bilen foran os.
Beboerne her er ikke for fattige eller for syge til at flygte. Der er hverken elektricitet eller gas, og de lokale fryser derfor i de kolde vintervejr. Iskender Shabil har derfor hentet varmt tøj, tæpper og petroleumslamper til de allermest trængende.
Så som I kan se, det er en enke her med 3 børn. De bor i en lille bitte etværelses lejlighed. Nu en t-shirt. Ja. Ja. Hvad vil I sige hej? Moment att se om det här är uppsikten.
Det er et lille indblik i noget af det arbejde, som vi udfører nede i Syrien. Og som vi så i starten, så viste det i selve flygtningelejren, og så bagefter viste det inde i Halab, inde i Aleppo. Og som vi kunne se, alle de her ødelagte bygninger, de her ødelagte huse, det er jo folk, der har boet i de her huse, og efterfølgende er flyttet til de her lejre. Så vi prøver ligeligt at koordinere vores arbejde, men selvfølgelig at komme ind til Halab, det er rigtig, rigtig svært på grund af de, som I selv så, de situationer, der opstår. Men alhamdulillah, vi sørger for at få hjælpen frem. Hele ideen i at vise jer det her og bruge så meget af jeres tid og vores kære bror Mohammeds tid, det er egentlig fordi at her i Danmark, der er rigtig, rigtig mange brødre, der er engageret og aktive i København og omegn. Og jeg er sikker på, at der er en hel del frivillige og en hel del gode brødre her, som kunne være interesseret i at være engageret i det her arbejde her i Danmark, for at prøve at gøre en forskel for de her. Så der er mange forskellige måder at gøre en forskel. Så hvis der er nogen af jer, der er interesseret, så tag fat i nogle af os, eller tag fat i bror Bilal, som er her fra Århus. Han skulle gerne være her i blandt os. Hvis han er, må du gerne lige række hånden op. Han er udenfor. Okay. Men ellers, bror Bilal, tag fat i ham. Han er her fra Århus, og han hjælper med at samle tøj, og han har en container stående nede ved Bispehaven. Det er ude for nummer 37 eller lignende. Bilal Tanzania, lige præcis. Han er deromme bag os. Så tag fat i ham i jeres hverdag, i jeres dagligdag, hvis der er noget, I vil give en hånd med, I vil være med til at hjælpe med at hente tøj eller pakke tøj. Det er tit, at der er brug for brødre, så kommer jeg tit i kontakt med ham, og så står han og skal tømme en container, og så står der 10 søstre og ham. Men mashallah, der sidder hundredvis af brødre her, jeg ved, der er alle sammen, der er en stor del af dem, der rigtig gerne vil hjælpe. Så her er en mulighed, inshallah. Så hold jer i kontakt med Bilal, og tag fat i en af os med de her biomistrøjer på, for hvordan I kan blive engageret. Og med det, så vil jeg ikke bruge mere af jeres tid. Så tak må du for jeres tålmodighed med os, og jeg går overgive ordet til Mohamed.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Inshallah, before I start, of course we always thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I want to thank the masjid, the sheikh, the brothers that involved, those that opened their doors and opened their arms and allowed me to come. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward every single one of you, to unite your hearts, and to unite us in Firdaus al-A'la, inshallah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you. To all the brothers that have come out, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you all. Bismillah walhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah. We praise him subhanahu wa ta'ala, the King, the Master, the Sustainer, the Creator of the seven heavens and the earth. And we send peace and blessings upon his beloved Muhammad salawatu rabbi wa salamu alayhi wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. My brothers and sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created you and I for a reason. My brothers and sisters, you and I do not exist in this world by chance. Don't think that because your mother and your father many years ago that they got together, that you happen to be here now today. For by Allah, every single one of you was created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And every single one of you exists for a reason. My brothers and sisters, your life in this world is not a joke. Please understand, we are not kuffar. We are not non-Muslims. You are a Muslim. You are a believer. You have tawheed in your heart. You have iman. You are a follower of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. You and I are not like everyone else. We are different. We exist for a different reason. The believer was not created for this dunya. Don't you understand, my brothers and sisters? Can't you see? We are trying so hard to fit in this world. We are trying so hard to make this dunya our Jannah, and we are failing miserably. Why? Because Allah designed it as such. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says in the Sahih Hadith, he says, الدنيا سجن المؤمن وجنة الكافر. Al-dunya, this world that you and I live in, is سجن المؤمن. This world is a prison. It's a jail for the believer. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he didn't say سجن المسلم. Muslims are 1.7 billion. Muslims are everywhere. But a mu'min, a believer, these are very few. This world is not for you and I, my brothers. Al-dunya sijn al-mu'min. It's a prison for a believer. وَجَنَّةُ الْكَافِرِ. This world is Jannah for the non-believer. Why? Because the non-believer, he has the choice. He has the option. He lives in this world as he pleases. He goes where he wants. He comes where he wants. He eats whatever he wants. He wears whatever he wants. He sleeps with whoever he wants. He can buy whatever he wants. This world is for them. They don't have a Jannah after this. This is their Jannah. All the fun they will ever have is here. But for the mu'min, for the true believer, this world is not Jannah. This world is a prison. The closer you are to your deen, the more you realize, I can't find happiness in this world. It was designed as such. Because for the mu'min, where is your Jannah? It's not here. It's over there. Jannat tajri tahtiha al-anhar. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes for the believers, for those with iman and tawheed, we have built for them a paradise. We have built for them a paradise. Imagine a place that Allah created with His own hands. Allah says we have created a place no eye has ever seen, no ear has ever heard, and no mind and heart has ever imagined or could possibly comprehend. This we've created for the believers. This world is not for you and I. This world is temporary. This world is transit. We are so in love with this dunya. We're hanging on and we can't let go of it. And that's why you find the Muslims have become crippled. Why? Because of our love for this dunya. And don't come and tell me now, brother, me, I don't love dunya. Allah says in Quran, وَتُحِبُّونَ الْمَالَ حُبًّا جَمًّا. You love collecting. You love money. You love wealth. You love status. You love position. You love it. Allah says you love it. This world is not for us. The Sahaba, your fathers, were very different. You see, my brothers, Islam is a practical religion. It's a practical religion. It's not a religion of theory. This theory of our deen came many centuries after the Sahaba. But in the time of the Sahaba, in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, deen was practice. It wasn't, sitting down and theory and wallah, your opinion and my opinion and wallah, what's the... No. It was practice. Sami'na wa ata'na. We hear and we obey. What we see from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is what we did. And they were different. People try to tell me today, and the world will try to convince you that Islam was spread by the sword. Nonsense. Rubbish. I've never heard so much nonsense in one statement. Islam was not spread by the sword. Islam was spread by a'mal. Here comes a religion that challenged everything that ever came before it. Imagine a religion, imagine a book, a Quran, where Allah, your Lord, pushes every single individual to question and to understand and to comprehend. Never before did the world ever see a religion like this. Here comes a deen that questioned the concept of God. The Muslim is not a jahil. The Muslim is not a follower. The Muslim is a leader. And when the world seen the Sahaba, it amazed them. They never seen anything like this before. Look at the way it worked. As far as the Arabs were concerned, no one was interested in the Arab. The Arab were in between the Romans and the Persians. Imagine the two biggest empires at the time. And in those days, the more land, then the bigger your empire, yes? Here you had these Arabs that were between these two big empires, and none of the two empires wanted anything to do with the Arab. What are we going to do with these people? They're backwards, they're barbarians, they eat the dead, they used to bury their daughters alive. What are you going to leave them and their land? They were not interested. And then the message of Islam came to these people. And the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was sent to these people. And from there, these Arabs that were backwards, these people that were barbarians, from there, they became the fuqaha of the world. From there, the Romans and the Persians, they kneeled to their knees. They fell down in submission to the Muslims. Why? Because of the sword? Almost every battle that the Muslims ever faced, they were always outnumbered. What gave them victory? What? The sword? The Romans, imagine the Romans, the biggest empire of the time. How do you think the Muslims, how? When one of the Roman generals, he was asking his commander, he says, hang on, what's going on here? We, the Romans, the Romies losing to these Arabs? You know, my brothers, you need to understand and put things in perspective. For them, their honor and their status and the Roman was like ruling for centuries. To now, the greatest empire is falling to a bunch of Arab. This was very, very difficult for them. So he's asking, he's amazed. One of the leaders, he was asking his general, he says, what's going on? Rome is losing to them? What's happening? Are they more than us? He says, no, we outnumber them every time. He says, are they more educated than us? He says, no. Do they have more food? No. More horses? No. Are they more experienced in war? He says to him, no. He says, then tell me what's happening. He says, can I tell you honestly? He says, please talk. We're losing. He says, how can you destroy a people that love to die like you love to live? How can you destroy them? How can you destroy a people who love for their brothers what they love for themselves? How can you destroy an army whom on the battlefield there's a narration of companions, Sahaba, on the battlefield, one of them was wounded. He fell onto the floor. You know, for many of us, when we look at our deen, we tend to look at our deen as, that our deen was all about jihad and killing and spread. This is, wallahi, you've been fooled. This is not what made our deen so great. This is not what made Islam so honorable. Islam was always a religion of rahmah. Always. Even in jihad, it was a religion of rahmah. Never before did the world ever see these concepts. Today you and I speak about democracy. We're talking 1400 years ago. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is telling the Sahaba that even in jihad, even when you have to face your enemy, Don't kill the women and the children. Don't kill their animals. Don't burn their trees. Don't destroy their homes. Does this sound like an army that was spread by the sword? Does this sound like an ummah that was spread by the sword? Don't fight their priests. Don't fight their men that sit in their temples, those that worship whoever. He says, don't fight them. Those that are unarmed, don't fight them. The captives of war, the prisoner of war, is to be treated better than the army is treated. You feed them from what you eat. Please, those that have children, if they can take them to the back, please, wallahi, it's extremely distracting. Don't fight them. Imagine. And you and I have been convinced that our deen was spread by the sword. Our deen was different. Wallahi, this deen is special. Malish, brothers, please just keep your attention here. You know? The Muslims are different. This world, my brothers, is not for you and I. You will live in this world for such a short time, for such a temporary time. But we've lost focus. Everyone is so caught up in his dunya. Everyone is so caught up in himself that he's forgotten. He's forgotten. Why are you here? Why did Allah create you? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says very clearly. Allah says, we did not create the human. We did not create the jinn. Except إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ, except to worship Allah. This is why you're here, my brother. To worship Allah and Allah alone. That's why you're here. Muslims, what are you doing with your life? You can talk all you want, but actions speak louder than words. Look at us. We live like them. We eat like them. We dress like them. We walk like them. We talk like them. We dream like them. We hope like them. We plan our lives like them. And then we convince ourselves that we're different. How are you different? How are you different? How? Please explain to me how. Speak to any Muslim, if he's honest enough, if he is sincere enough. But the truth is, we're not truthful anymore. We're not men who speak the haqq. I know what to say to make you happy. That's what I always talk. But what's in my heart is a different story. Ask any Muslim, anyone, tell him, brother, what's your dream? What's your hope? What's your ambition? If Allah can answer one wish of yours, what would it be? And if he's truthful, he'll tell you to buy and own my own house. True or not? Because we believe that if I own my own house, then this is security. Then I don't have to pay rent anymore. It gives me time to worship Allah. Rubbish! And Muslims in the thousands, I don't know about here, but I can definitely tell you about Australia. Muslims, men with beard, clean shaven from every corner. Muslims in the thousands, lining up at banks, taking money in riba just to buy a house. Because of the fatwa of some sheikh under the bridge somewhere. Oh, brother, didn't you hear? Some of the ulama said that it's okay for the first house. Akhi, if you're happy with that, I'm not a sheikh. Let me make things very clear. Because, you have to give everything its haqq. I'm not a sheikh. I'm not a mufti. I'm not an authority to speak about fiqh. But if this is okay with you, if you're happy to take the fatwa of some guy you don't even know his name, to engage in riba, then good for you. But the same person, if you went to a doctor and he said to you, take this medicine, there's a 50% chance it may cure you, it may kill you. Would you take it? Why won't you take it? Because you fear for your life, but we don't fear for our deen anymore. The only sin, imagine, the only sin in Quran that Allah declares war is riba. War, harb with Allah. And Muslims in the thousands. MashaAllah, did you hear? Bilal bought a house. Wow. Wow. This has become the norm. This has become our dream. By Allah, even the most religious people I know, deep down, brother, if I can buy a house, the farah in his heart. And the same brother, when he gives $1,000 in charity, he loses sleep for 1 week. He loses sleep for 1 week. When he gives $1,000 in charity, I don't know about here. So forgive me, I'm not from here, I don't know the condition. Please, for those that are recording with their phones, I ask you kindly, please put your phone down. Wallahi, it's hard to talk and I see people recording me. Let's just make this personal. Not everything has to be recorded and trust me, just put your phone down and record with your heart, inshallah. Please. You know, I don't know about here, and please, let me touch on a few different things because I want to highlight something. Look how shaitan has us so occupied. I don't know what the condition here, but I can definitely tell you back home in my country. Aqidah is a big topic. Where's he from? Who does he belong to? Is he from us or is he from them? Muslim who can't clean his behind properly, can't read Fatiha properly, but he read something, he watched something somewhere, now he believes he is an authority to say who is and who isn't a Muslim. Now he believes that he's an authority to say who is and who isn't a Muslim. But I don't care, I'm not here to say who is right and who is wrong, because from both sides of the fence, who want to teach me and tell me that they're on the right aqidah, that they're on the haqq, both of them, if they're honest enough, whenever he gives money in charity, wallahi he gives it and his heart is shaking. Every one of us knows the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Every one of us knows the promise of Allah that every dollar you give in charity, Allah will replace. Every dollar you give in sadaqah, your wealth will not decrease. And still, you want to talk to me about aqidah? This is aqidah. Faith and belief that whatever the Prophet says is full haqq. Still, when it comes to giving money, my hand shakes. Still, the promise of Allah, and still my heart shakes. When any one of you goes to buy a mobile phone, the new iPhone just came out. When the brother grabs a new phone, Ya Allah, the farah, the joy, the smile on his face when he buys it. He holds it like this. He sits in the car, he puts it in the passenger seat, he puts the seat then he goes home. You don't just open it. You have to clean the table. Then you take the seal off, you put the phone down, you take the cover off neatly, you keep the protective screen on the face. For a piece of dunya, you have the joy. But the same brother, when he puts $100 in charity, he loses sleep for a week. Where are we going? My brothers, where are we going? Are we people of dunya or are we people of akhirah? Who do we belong to? What is this dunya? Allah says in Quran, وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا. What is it? وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا مَتَاعُ الْغُرُورِ. This world that we love so much, we love this world so much, we're in love to buy a house or to buy a car or to establish, oh my heart, the joy. We're in love. What is this world? Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he says this world is a dream. It's an illusion. It's not real. But when you die, he says people are asleep. When they die, they wake up and see the truth. But by then, it's too late. You can't come back. Do you know why you and I believe this world? Ali bin Abi Talib says it's a dream. You know why you and I believe it? To believe your dream, you have to be asleep. We're all asleep, and that's the truth, forgive me. Myself included. By Allah, we are asleep. Don't fool yourself, mashallah, I have a nice little lahiyah. And don't fool yourself that, mashallah, I wear a nice cap. And look at my nice white thawb and my nice white abaya. And no. In truth, we're all asleep. That's the truth. We're asleep. We're in love with this dunya. We're in love with this world that you don't take. When you die and you leave, you take nothing with you. The truth is today, and please my brothers, I want to mention sicknesses that we have in the heart. Let's be honest. If we're not going to be honest with each other, then why are we here? Really, why are we here? Have you really just come to see me? If that's the case, you didn't come to see much. You could have sat at home and watched it at home. Why are we here if not to speak the truth? If not to really wake up and say to myself, you know what? He's right. I am sick. I have diseases in my heart and that I need to change. That I need to change. This world is a dream, it's an illusion. What do you take with you? You came into this world naked. And you leave naked. يَتْبَعُ الْمَيَّةَ ثَلَاثَةً أَهْلُهُ وَمَالُهُ وَعَمَلُهُ. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he says 3 things will follow the dead man to the grave. 3 things. Yahi, you know what? Maybe I'm a bit extreme, I'm a bit much. But your Prophet, your Habib sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he says 3 things will follow you to the grave, my brother. Your money, your family, and your deeds, your a'mal. They will go to the grave. They will bury you there. They will put the turab over you. He says, فَيَرْجِعُ اثْنَيْنِ. Both of these things, 2 things will come back. And فَيَرْجِعُ اثْنَيْنِ وَيَبْقَى وَاحِدٌ. And only 1 thing will stay with you there. فَيَرْجِعُ أَهْلُهُ وَمَالُهُ وَيَبْقَى عَمَلُهُ. What are we in love with? What is it that we're in love with? This world. What do you take when you go? What do you take with you? The Prophet of Allah, he says, he says 3 things will follow you to the grave. Your wealth, your family and your friends, and your deeds. They will go there, they will cry, and they will make dua, and they will put the dirt over you. He says, and 2 things will come back. Your family and your money will come back home. And the only thing you're left with, my brother, is whatever good or bad that you did in this world. That's all you're left with. What are we doing with our lives? What are we doing? You know what hurts me the most? You know what hurts hurts me the most, my brothers, and let's be real. We give Allah our scraps. We give Allah, we give our deen, our spare change. I give the deen what I don't need. I give the deen what I don't want. And I expect in return, I expect Firdaus al-A'la. I give Allah what I don't want. And in return, Ya Allah, Firdaus al-A'la. Hey, the Prophet of Allah said that when you ask for Firdaus al-A'la. Akhi, by Allah, look at your life. Do you feel like you deserve Firdaus al-A'la? When they ask for clothes to go overseas, what clothes do we give? I give the things I don't want anymore. I don't need this anymore. Oh, I was going to throw it out. It's going to Syria. MashaAllah. Please, brother, take this on my behalf. That's a nice thing. I'm not saying that that's wrong. But look, really the truth is what are you giving Allah? You're giving Him spare change, what I don't need. When it comes to charity, let's be honest. What do you give Allah? Same thing. Akhi, we're collecting money to build a masjid. Whatever we're collecting money for. Usually now when you hear it, Ya Allah, sara'una, bro. Again, another masjid. More people are dying. What are you expecting to live in this world and not pay anything? You have no problems paying for your TV. You have no problems paying for your phone. You have no problems paying for parking. You have no problems paying for your cigarettes. No problem. You pay it and you smile. But when it comes to your deen, sara'una, bro. لما حدا ربي لي دقن وطرق لي كرش حيدوله من الطريق, bro. We give Allah spare change. When it comes to charity, how do we give our charity? Again, for those who are honest. I'm not speaking to everyone. I know that there's only a very few here now tonight that will understand really what I'm on about. When it comes to our charity, how do we do our charity? I tell you exactly how we do our charity. This is how much money I have. I have to pay rent, I have to pay for school, I have to pay for my car, I have to pay for fuel. You calculate every single thing you have to pay for, plus the allowance for my wife, plus the allowance for my children, plus some money for me. Then after all of this is done and everything has been covered, then I say, how much money is left? How much money is left? How much money is left that I don't need anymore? Now from this, I will see how much I will give in charity. And for this you expect Firdaus al-A'la. The Sahaba, when they gave, it was jnoon. It was madness. They gave uncontrollably. No, you and I would. Not only do we give what we don't need, your heart is shaking when you give it. Ya akhi, come to the masjid. Come to learn. Come learn Quran. Come learn Arabic. Brother, I'm busy. MashaAllah. You're busy, and you're busy, and you're busy, and I'm busy. Who's left for this ummah? Please tell me. Who's left? You know, we Muslims, we love saying things like, Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world. So what? What does that mean? So what? Come to the masjid, it's empty. You know, for me, whenever I see someone embrace Islam, Ya Allah, wallahi, my heart goes black. Wallahi, I just want to start crying. Please get me out of the masjid. Why? Because when he accepts Islam, everyone stands up and everyone has his phone, and everyone is watching the man make his shahada, and takbir, Allahu Akbar, they scare the hell out of the boy. Allahu Akbar. The masjid shakes, and the hugs, and the kisses, and the barakallahu, Allahu Akbar. And then, brothers, the man needs to get married. Who has a sister who... You think it's funny, I know. But you speak to a revert and tell him, brother, because they will speak the truth. We say Muslims are not racist, we're the worst. We say that we are... Anyway, because I know people always get upset with me. I don't know, for some reason the truth just happens to hurt. Everyone claims his masjid. No, mashallah, our masjid is different. Our masjid is welcoming. Our masjid, yeah. As soon as someone with a different skin color comes in, maybe you don't feel it because you're one of the rest. But you ask him, how does he really feel? Thousands, takbir, it's all over Facebook, mashallah, the fastest growing religion. But after all the hugs, brothers, who's ready to take him home? He needs a place to stay. Brothers, who's ready to keep him with them for 2 weeks, teach him Fatiha, teach him how to pray, assist him? You know, he's just accepted Islam. His family's going to reject him. His community's going to reject him. No. No one's there to be seen anymore. Be honest. Let's be real. But who's ready for their deen? No, I'm busy. Look at the condition of the ummah. Look, any way you look, any direction that you look, you will see the worst things when it comes to the Muslims and Islam and this ummah. Any way you look, even in our own homelands, even in our own countries, look, I don't need to talk about the condition of the ummah. I'm sure you can see. Ask any Muslim, Akhi, what's wrong with the ummah? 1,000,001 excuses. Wallahi ya Akhi, it's our mashayikh. Wallahi ya Akhi, it's the ulama. Wallahi ya Akhi, it's the leaders of the Arab world. Wallahi ya Akhi, it's the Western governments. Every excuse under the sun. But God forbid, anyone should be man enough and to say the problem with the ummah is people like me. No. I'm perfect. But it's the rest that are giving us a bad name. You are the ummah. You are Islam. And this is the problem. Is no one takes responsibility anymore. And forgive me, this is un-Islamic. This is what can I do? I'm a miskin. No one's going to listen to me. I'm a nothing. When you keep saying to yourself that I'm nothing, I have news for you. You become nothing. When the Sahabi was sent to stand in front of the Roman leader, I forget his name. Rabi'i. When the companion was sent to stand in front of the Romans, look, you see, I don't like sharing these stories because Muslims think I'm trying to, wow, look how good we used to be. No, these stories are for you to understand. I believe it was Sa'd bin Abi Waqqas who sent him. One man to stand in front of the Romans. Imagine the Romans were expecting the Muslim leader to come. Entourage, cavalry, horses, red carpet. He was sitting on this big throne. They're waiting for the Muslims. So they're looking in the distance. You know who comes? One Sahabi on a crippled donkey. Look, for you and I, it's a funny story. But look at these men. Imagine for these Romans to sit. That just him coming on his own was a big insult. And don't think he came on a big stallion. Today the Muslims think that our success is where?
Akhi, we need to become educated. We need to become doctors and lawyers and scholars and architects. And then through money and through our business, we will become successful. Wow, really? So our success has nothing to do with Allah anymore, eh? And I'm not saying becoming a doctor is a bad thing. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that becoming educated. No. This is compulsory anyway. So he rocks up on a crippled donkey, walks in. He had a sword that didn't even have like his leather shield for it, right? It was just a sword. And he had a spear. And as he was walking in, there was all these silky cushions. He started stabbing all the cushions as he's walking in. No fee. No fee. I'm not going to speak about you. About myself. When they stop me at the airport, balaba'a beat, balaba'a talks, my heart starts shaking. One man in front of a whole nation walks in, stabbing all, and then when he gets to the throne, he ties his donkey to his throne. He says, what do you want? What do you want? Why did you waste my time? Where are these Muslims now? Where? He says to me, who are you people? Look, the whole reason why I mentioned this story, he didn't say, oh, our prophet. He didn't say our leader. He didn't say, no. He says, me. We are a people whom Allah sent to take humanity from the darkness that it's in to the light of Islam. That's who we are. Where is this quality in the ummah now? Everyone points the finger, not me, akhi. Wallahi, akhi, forgive me, I'm married. I have kids. I have work. You need to understand, Allah. But then you do, inshallah, and I'll give you money in charity, mashallah. No one wants responsibility anymore. Everyone can see the faults and everyone can see the mistakes. But when it comes to fixing them, not me, man. Wallahi, akhi, ma'alash, forgive me. I don't speak Arabic. I can't read. I'm busy. Allah sees you working 12, 13, 14. Some brothers I know, they work 16 hours a day. Allah sees you there. Allah sees you in the gym. Allah sees you when you play football. Then when he comes into the masjid, he's like a lamb. Who are we living for, my brothers? What are we doing with our lives? How much more time will you waste? This ummah is in need. Everywhere you look, people are crying for help. People are crying for help, and no one is ready to take the responsibility. What are you living for? What direction do you have in your life? We claim Allah, we claim Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we claim Islam, but when you look at your life, you see a different picture. Muslims are terrorizing now. And of course not all, there's always this handful. Terrorizing people wherever you go. Sharia law and this, that and the other. Wow, tabarakallah. Yes, you're right. We believe Sharia is the best. But you're scaring people with this and you don't even implement it in your own house. You don't even implement it in your own house and you want to put it down people's throats. My brothers and sisters, honestly, what are we doing? What have you done with your life? What have you done with your life? Most of us here are what? 25? 30? 30? What have you accomplished in 30 years? You've been Muslim for 30 years. What have you accomplished? didn't come here tonight to make you feel good. I did not come here tonight to make you feel good. There are many people that would love to do that. That's not me. 30 years you've been Muslim. What have you accomplished? Does anyone know who Sa'ad bin Mu'adh is? Sa'ad bin Mu'adh was an Ansari, radiallahu ta'ala anhu. One of the Ansar. We don't know who Sa'ad bin Mu'adh is anymore. We don't name our children Sa'ad anymore. I can tell you who this singer is. I can tell you who this actor is. I can tell you every member of my favorite football team. I can tell you when they were born, when they joined the team, how long their contracts are, how much they earn a year. I can tell you their whole life story. But don't ask me who Sa'ad bin Mu'adh is, because forgive me, Akhi, I don't know who he is. Sa'ad bin Mu'adh was Muslim, yani from the day he accepted Islam to the day that he died. I hope you're listening. Are we asleep? No. You sure? We're all awake. Sa'ad bin Mu'adh, from the day he accepted Islam to the day that he... So that most of us were born Muslim. Most of us were born Muslim. Sa'ad bin Mu'adh accepted Islam. From the day he accepted Islam to the day that he died, Sa'ad bin Mu'adh was Muslim for 7 years only. And yet when Sa'ad bin Mu'adh died, in the Sahih Hadith, the Prophet of Allah, he says, اهتز لموته عرش الرحمن. He said, the throne of Allah shook when Sa'ad bin Mu'adh died. The throne of Allah shook when Sa'ad bin Mu'adh died. Muslim for 7 years only. Muslims are dying in the millions now. Never mind the throne of Allah. I challenge the tree outside to shake. You've been Muslim for 30 years. What have you done? What have you accomplished? How much more time will we waste, my brothers? How much more time will we waste? You know what the truth is? Your hopes and your dreams and your ambitions, they far supersede the time you really have left. Death stares you in the face every single day. What have you prepared? What have you prepared? Everyone thinks, no, not me. What are you talking about? I'm still 25. I haven't even gotten married yet. Do you think death has restrictions? Death doesn't know names, doesn't know color, doesn't know race, doesn't know religion. Death doesn't discriminate. When Allah calls, death answers. That's simple. That's simple. How much more time will you waste, Ya Akhi al-Kareem? How much more time? Wallahi, for me, it burns me. The Muslim Ummah, the youth of Islam, we are lost. We are lost. Yes, we're 1.7 billion, but we equal to nothing. Why? Because everyone is a cowboy. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone has his own vision and his own dream. Nowhere do you go, do you find this sense of unity? Do you find this sense of mahabbah? Do you find this sense of ihtiram and adab and respect? Nowhere. It's all about me and my name and my status and my fame and my image. It's all about me. It's all about me. The strength of this ummah was always through mahabbah. The strength of this ummah was always in its unity. Always. Always. But now look at us. We're everywhere. How much more time will you waste? When will we wake up? When will we come back to our deen? My brothers, let me tell you sincerely and honestly. Everyone tells me, Akhi, what's the solution? You don't have an option. The only solution that you and I have is Islam. There is nothing else. اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم. Today I have perfected your religion and I have chosen Islam as my way. You don't have a choice. Our victory and our success is only in deen. Not deen according to you and I. Not deen according to your sheikh and my sheikh. Not deen according to Allah what this country feels like. No. Deen according to what the Prophet and his companions do. That deen, not my deen. The deen that they followed, that's the deen. Why? Because the Prophet of Allah, he says, the best of generation is my generation and the two that will follow after them. The Sahaba were those people. I'm not telling you what the ulama think of the Sahaba. Allah says, I am pleased with them and they are pleased with me. They were true success. And until your life becomes like their life, until your deen becomes like their deen, until what worried them worries you, until what stressed them stresses you, never mind what the kuffar will do to you. Until you make Allah number one, until you make His Prophet number one, until you make Islam number one, until you make living for this deen to be your number one priority, I have news for you. Never mind what the West will do. I'm telling you, Allah Himself will destroy you. People try to become creative. I think, you know what, Muslims, I think we should start. Allah's not looking. Allah's not looking to how creative you are. قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهِ. Say if you love Allah, if you claim to love Allah, what's the solution? فَاتَّبِعُونِي. Follow Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That is the only choice you have. It's the only choice. You know now, and I'm sure wherever you go, people always tell me that, brother, the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is the best way. Does anyone disagree? Just be honest. Does anyone disagree that the sunnah is the best? No. Let me tell you how much poison there is in this one statement alone. When you say the sunnah is the best, what you're saying indirectly is that, look, there's a lot of options, and the best of the options is the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. You're wrong. The sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is the only way. You don't have an option. You don't have an option. People come up with new ways, creative. No, Allah's not looking. What is Islam? Let's go back to basics. What is Islam? What does Islam mean? People now, mashallah, Muslims, falling all over themselves, trying to please kuffar and trying to, no, that, you know, Islam means peace and Islam is rosy and pink and like that. Why? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Present your deen for what it is. Islam means peace. Does anyone disagree? Do you disagree? Islam means peace. Islam doesn't mean peace, my brothers. Yes, Islam is a peaceful religion. Yes. But Islam doesn't mean peace. Islam means submission. To who? To what? To Allah and His Prophet. And those that submit to Allah and His Prophet, these people, they will find peace in their lives. Your only success is following Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. You will only ever earn Allah's pleasure by following the Sunnah to the last T. That's true submission. To follow Him sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The more of His life is in your life, the more pleasure of Allah. And that's why people come to me all the time. all the time, and I'm sure maybe you've been presented with this question. Brother, there's this non-Muslim, he's a beautiful man, he's a doctor, he helps a lot of people, he doesn't charge any money, he has the best akhlaq, he is the best in everything, and the only thing is that he's not a Muslim, he doesn't have iman in his heart. What will happen to him on the day of resurrection? Do you get this question a lot?
Yes.
Yeah? And Muslims, oh man, what do I say? Ya Allah, what do I say? Wallahi, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide these people. We love the fact that they're good, and we love the fact, but for you and I, we don't have an option. And that's why, my brothers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not accept no matter what you do. No matter what you do, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you could give $3 billion in charity. But if you don't give it according to the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, it is not accepted with Allah. Come through any door, climb any mountain, and cross any valley. The only thing that is accepted from Allah is whatever the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam gave you. That is the only door that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts. Yes, Allah will give this doctor many good things in this world. Yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect him and give him many good things in this world. Nothing that is done which is good does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala turn. But as far as acceptance when it comes to akhirah, the only door that Allah accepts is the door of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So my brothers, I've spoken for long, and I'm sure, I'm sure some of you know where I'm going with this. We need to stop wasting our time. And every single brother sitting here in front of me, there's a whole ummah that's waiting for you. Allah is waiting for you. Don't waste your life, my brother. Don't waste your life. Who knows what the dua is for when you wake up in the morning? Just raise your hand if you know the dua for when you wake up in the morning. Naam, brother.
Wake up.
Yes, when you wake up in the morning, what's the actual dua that you make? Can you say it a bit louder? This is a sahih hadith. Listen to the dua that the Prophet of Allah used to make when you wake up. Brother, I'm not going to tell you what happened last year. I'm not going to tell you what happened last month. I'm going to tell every single one of you what happened this morning. To every single one of you this morning. The Prophet of Allah, when he used to wake up, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he used to say what? He used to say, Alhamdulillahi alladhi. All praise be to the one. Alhamdulillahi alladhi ahyana. All praise be to the one who gave me life. Ba'dama amatana. After he gave me death. Every one of you was dead this morning. Who woke you up? Yeah, I know on the tongue, everyone, mashallah, Allah. But in our hearts, but have you seen the alarm on the new iPhone 6? They're amazing. Who woke you up in the morning? Where was your money when you were dead? Where was your wife and your children when you were dead? Where was your car and your house when you were dead? Where was your business and your status and your boys? Where were these things today when you were dead this morning? Where were they when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you life? Why did He give you life? You were dead and Allah allowed you to come back to life. Why did He give you life? Why? To make more money? To build a bigger house? To buy a faster car? Why? Why? Go, I challenge you. Go to the cemetery. Grab anyone you want, Muslim or non-Muslim. If we had the power, if we had the ability to take a dead man out of the grave, take him out of the grave and tell him, brother, you have one day to live. Ask him, will he go to work? Will he go to the shops? Will he go play football? But what would he do? Anyway, I can talk all night. I'm not saying we don't work, and I'm not saying buying a house is haram. And no, what I'm saying is when we make dunya our priority, then we have serious problems. Allah and His Prophet come first. Your akhirah comes first. We work so hard to build this dunya, but what have you left for akhirah? What have you built in the akhirah? What have you built in your Jannah, my brother? What have you built? Why do we hate death? Because we hate to leave that which we've built for that which we destroyed. We destroyed our akhirah. That's why no one wants to go there. So inshallah, before I wrap it up, lately I've been doing this thing with the brothers because I feel like if I don't do this, I feel like I've wasted my time. Now that we've heard this talk, I'm sure some of you have been affected. I'm sure some of you are now motivated. We now need to know, okay, where to from here? What's the action plan? So what I always say to the brothers is we need to start making intentions. Intentions. And I don't care what your intention is. I don't care how small it is, and wallahi, I don't care how big it is. As long as you make a move. So what I usually like to ask the brothers is, I like to ask the brothers to put their hands up and share with me one intention that they plan on doing from this day forward. And look, let me make it very clear. I don't want you to impress me. I'm leaving tonight. There's a very good chance that I may never see you again. So don't impress me. Impress Allah. What we need is people that when they promise Allah, they never go back on their word. That's why when you make an intention, even if it's small, if you're sincere and you promise Ya Allah that I will, khalas, I will start this and I will never go back, then this ummah can start moving forward. So inshallah, who's ready to raise up his hand and share with me an intention that he has? I don't care what it is. Wallahi, I don't care what it is, as long as you have an intention. And this is good because when others start hearing, it gets the mind thinking. Now, the young brother, what's your intention? To start what? So he wants to start talking about deen. MashaAllah, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept you. Who else, inshallah? Look, for me, please forgive me. This for me is a sign of failure. Really, honestly, today we don't come to listen to speakers. What do? We come to watch speakers now. So who's ready, inshallah, to raise up his hand and give me an intention? I promise with Allah that from this day forward, this is what I will start doing. Who else, inshallah? Naam, akhi.
To give money to your heart, to push away the
To start giving money. This is very good. What we need to start doing is that when we make an intention, we have to be specific. Because what usually happens is, khalas, yeah, he's right, I'm going to change. But change how? So we need to be specific. A Muslim is not a foolish person. A Muslim is precise. We're specific. So what I suggest for you to do is say, well, okay, you know what? I promise Allah that every single week I will give, and I don't care how much you give. Whatever, every week, every month, I promise that I will give this much money in charity. Even if it's small, but consistency, Allah loves a small action that's consistent more than a big action that's one-off. Right? So this is how we need to be precise with our intention. Who else, inshallah, wants to share their intentions? Naam, akhi, beautiful brother.
Allah barak fik.
No.
I will come to Fajr every day.
You will come to Fajr.
Every day.
Wallahi, this is a very beautiful intention. لو يعلم الناس, the Prophet of Allah says. If the people knew the reward of praying Fajr in the masjid, they would come even if they had to crawl on their hands and knees. But no one knows the reward of Fajr anymore. If the Imam said tomorrow there's $100 for every person that comes to pray Fajr, yeah, I know we're laughing. Wallahi, the non-Muslims would come pray. True, Sheikh? True, $100? $100? Why? Because we know the value of 100. We don't know the value of the hadith. So, akhi, what I suggest, because of course there will come a time when you miss Fajr. This is very normal. So what we need to do is, Ya Allah, I promise that from now on, Fajr in the masjid. So of course, don't expect to go to sleep at 2 o'clock in the morning and wake up for Fajr. True? It's not going to happen. And with our intention, this is where a lot of us go wrong. With the niyyah, you need to have what? You need to have a penalty. What do you mean penalty? You mean like a parking fine? Yes, a penalty. So when the day comes that you don't miss Fajr, when the day comes that you miss Fajr, Ya Allah, when the day comes that I miss Fajr, I promise you that that day I will pray Maghrib and Isha in the masjid and I will give $20 in charity. You know why? When the day comes that you're going to miss Fajr, trust me, Shaitan will come, wake you up, bring you a bowl of water so you can make your wudu and tell you, please go pray Fajr, because if you don't, it's going to cost me 2 prayers in the masjid and $20 in charity. But the problem is when I don't make a wa'ad with Allah, yani if I just say I'm going to pray Fajr in the masjid, when the day comes that you miss Fajr, there's no penalty. So we need to be smart. Who else, inshallah? Just very, very quickly, just some intention so that we can wrap it up. Don't be shy, huh? Don't be shy. Put your hand up and you should be proud. Now, brother.
Get some knowledge, inshallah.
You want to get some knowledge? The only hope we have is knowledge. You know the sword? You know the rifle? It can be dropped from your hands. But knowledge will never ever be dropped. Knowledge is nur. The Prophet of Allah says, whoever takes a path to seeking knowledge, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make the path to Jannah easy for him. Knowledge, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you. But you have to be precise. What sort of knowledge? When? What? Do you know what I mean? So these are the things you have to start thinking. Don't just say knowledge like general. No, precisely. Come to the shaykh, come to the imam. What's happening in the masjid? Is there courses? Is there fiqh? Is there hadith? Is there Quran? Whatever it is, start something. The first word to be revealed in Quran, what was it? Jihad? What? Was it killing? Was it salah? Was it charity? What was the first word? And they try to tell us that Islam is a religion of killing and blood. Why? Because we don't have knowledge, we presented that image. So ask Allah to make knowledge easy for you. One more. Naam, akhi. Dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is very good. The difference between the man who remembers Allah and doesn't remember Allah is like what? What's the analogy? The living and the dead. Rasulullah didn't say the difference between the Muslim and the non-Muslim. He said the difference between the one who remembers Allah and the one who doesn't is like the living and the dead. When Khalid bin Walid, when they were facing the Romans, 60,000 Romans, Khalid bin Walid, when the night time came, you see, everyone knows Khalid as this big warrior and this, yes. But look how, subhanAllah, we only take from deen what suits my nafs and my desires. We love Khalid bin Walid, and rightfully so. I don't have a problem with you liking Khalid. But love Khalid for who he really was. When Khalid bin Walid, 60,000 Romans, the Muslims were facing 60,000 Romans on his own, Khalid bin Walid, at night time. He mounted on his horse and he went to the Roman army to get some information, to go spy on them, to see what's happening on his own. So the Muslims said, Ya Khalid, what are you doing? You're going to the enemy on your own. Take someone with you. Listen to what he said. He said to them, did you not hear the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, where he said, the difference between the one who remembers Allah and the one who doesn't is like the living and the dead. What can 60,000 dead people do to one man who's alive? Yeah, but no one knows this side of Khalid. We only like the side when he was on the battlefield. So, be precise. Remember Allah how. So say to yourself, okay, inshallah, every day I will make salat ala Rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Whatever. Realistic. I will make 100 salat ala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Subhanallah, walhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar. Whoever says this, for him there's a tree in Jannah. You know, like la ilaha illallah. Choose your afkar and make a wa'ad with Allah that these afkar I will do every single day. Ask Allah to accept. Who else, inshallah? Now.
To make more da'wah and call for Islam, inshallah.
Look at this nur. The best amal you can do is to call people to deen.
You understand?
Yeah, it's true. The greatest job in the world is the job of the Anbiya. What is it? It's to call people to deen. Call people to the masjid. You see, Abdullah can go and memorize Quran. Is this good or bad? Very good. He will memorize Quran and Allah will give him a crown and his parents' crowns on the Day of Judgment. Yes, very good. But if Abdullah becomes a da'i and calls 10 people to memorize Quran, then every person that memorizes Quran, Abdullah gets all their rewards. That's a true businessman. Good? That's true business. How many people don't pray? How many Muslims don't fast? How many Muslims don't come? Da'wah in Allah. Call people to deen. Call people to Islam. Anyway, I'm not going to take too long. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you. Sheikh, once again, thank you very much for opening your doors. Forgive me for screaming and shouting. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Astaghfirullah.